In this video, we're going to learn about some really basic arithmetic in Tableau and how you would do that. So we're going to actually go into Excel. We're going to do a simple example. We don't need this, right? And we're going to have a bunch of entries. So I'm just going to do some random values between 1 and 10. Oops, 1 and 10. And what I want to do is, let's say this is value. So imagine this is your data entry in Tableau. And I want to just multiply these numbers. I would go equals this times, let's say 5, and I would do it for the whole thing, right? Same thing with other things. So if I want to go 9 plus 9, right, I do it for the whole thing. In Tableau, the way it works is you don't have to do it row by row, okay? You just have to tell it what the formula is, and it will do this for you. So let's do an example. Go workbook. Let's say I have category. Let's bring category. We'll do just category in this one. Let's bring in sales, and I'm going to bring it as a number, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to multiply these by 10, right? And here's how we're going to do it. So if I right click sales, right, I can go create calculated field. And by right clicking sales first, right, it brings it into my calculation straight away. But I don't have to do it that way, right? I can actually click on this triangle right here, or I can right click in this white space like so, create calculated field, or this one, create calculated field. Okay, and a few things, you'll see this little triangle, right? This will come in handy much later, but it shows you all the possible formulas you can learn, and there is a lot of them. Okay, we're just going to stick with the basics. And what we're going to do is we're going to add to every single row of that data, of those sales data, we're going to add, I don't know, 10,000 to it. So if I grab sales, I can actually drop it in here like so, so drag and drop, or I can start typing and it'll actually give me a suggestion of what's in my data set. And if I want this one, I just click it. Okay, and we're going to add 10,000 to each of those and go apply, right? And you'll see that this calculation is now an item here, right? So let's call this 10,000 strong and go okay. And if I bring that in, okay, I now have my measured value. So actually we'll reverse this so you can see it side by side. In this one, for every item that is in this data, I've added 10,000 to it, okay? I haven't added 10,000 to this. I've added it to every single entry. Remember, in our Excel spreadsheet, we're actually doing this. Equals this plus 10,000, right? We are not, oh, hang on. Yeah, that's right. And then we're adding all these up. So if I do a sum function, okay, I'm doing that. I am not doing this. The sum of all this plus 10,000. That's completely different that's completely different mathematically, right? So just be aware that that always does it to every single row of data. And then this aggregate, this sum, is applied to the final result. All right, so we can do another example. Let's get rid of, oh, we can leave that in there. Let's say I wanted to multiply or I wanted to, let's see, for every unit, where's the unit? So, sorry, quantity, right? Let's say I want to multiply that by, I don't know, just for argument's sake, maybe sales. We can do that. Or maybe actually, we want to multiply the sales by 2 because we assume, all right, in our analysis, we're actually under predicting everything. Let's multiply everything by 2. So again, we can right click, create calculated field. We can go times 2, or we can multiply it by another column. So if I go and add quantity in, like so, I can multiply fields together. And that is the equivalent of, if we go back to our trusty Excel, if I've got 2 columns in here, it's this multiplied by this. Okay, and we're going to multiply in between. So if we go equals this times this for the whole thing, right, and then aggregate, oops, 491, right, that is the part that you see in Tableau, and this is what you see inside the calculation. All right, So if we go OK, we now have that as a calculation. We can bring that in. And as you can see, the numbers are getting a lot bigger. So that is the most basic you can do with calculations. But as you can see, if I bring that up again, you can do a lot of things in calculation, right? And I found that with a lot of beginners, mainly because Tableau is already aggregating, it's already summing up for you. The most they actually do is really just convert this from sum to maybe average or count or median, and then everything else gets split up like a pivot table anyway. Therefore, they don't really do a lot of calculation at the beginning. So in the intermediate section, we'll definitely be covering a lot more calculations, especially things like logic, if functions, and functions. If you ever want to get to the stage where you're doing, trigonometric functions for maybe mapping things, especially if it's like circles, you want to do like radial plots, that kind of thing, right? There is a lot you can do with calculations. All right, this is just a taste. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.